and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about how to make sure you're ready to vote.
Hey Shannon, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Happy anniversary.
Yes, it's our 2-year anniversary of podcasting.
That's right. We're recording this on June 15th, and on June 15th, 2018, our little podcast got born.
Yes, with 3 little episodes to begin with.
That's right. And now we're working on episode 108. Amazing.
Wow.
That is amazing.
108?
It is, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
Well,
the little engine that could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for making it fun every week, week after week.
Thank you for the same.
Because
Yeah.
that was our promise, that as long as it remained fun, we could continue doing it. And it's also been interesting to, over the last few months, it has, we've addressed more serious topics, and I've been happy to have the ability to do that too.
Mm-hmm. Do you mean that you've been happy to have like an outlet or a medium to address?
Yeah, to have that, and then also to, recognize that while we have a lot of fun talking, that, there's that we can also address these more serious issues and hopefully help other people address them in their lives too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're very fortunate.
Because, perfectionism isn't all fun and games.
Exactly. Everyone thinks it's just a big goof, but this is serious stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but it's true though. I mean, perfectionism is relevant in everything. So almost everything anyway. So we can remain relevant no matter what the heck's going on.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And it's actually the current environment that brought us today's topic on how to make sure you're ready to vote.
Right. It feels so important. Everybody voting is so important. It's always important, but it feels especially important now.
Yes. Well, and I feel like we need to give an apology to our non-American, non-U.S. citizen listeners, because this is very U.S. centric in that we have our presidential election coming up in November, and there are still loads of primaries coming up, both state primaries and presidential primaries that were postponed, and some don't happen until later anyway. So it just feels, it's always important to vote, but it feels very important right now to make sure that everyone is set up to vote in a way that is safe for them.
Right. Yeah. And it's not just of course, the presidential election in the U.S. is very important, but also the local elections and, of course, Senate and Congress.
Right.
So there's just feels like there's a lot at stake, and the COVID crisis makes voting iffier for a lot of people, understandably.
Right.
So this is the year we really need to be planning.
Yes.
To make sure we can vote.
Yes, and so...
and this is true worldwide, right? I mean, we're talking about our dates, but anybody who votes...
Any of our listeners who live in some form of democracy
Yeah.
and has the opportunity to vote.
Right.
This this is definitely something to check into. And one of the first things we wanted to encourage people to do is make sure you're registered if you aren't sure that you're registered, and to check into your state or county or local jurisdiction of how they are running elections, because a lot of the states are, have postponed things, or they're opening up the ability to vote by mail, when in the past they might have only had absentee ballots.
Right. That's a really good point, that we can't assume that just because it's always been done that way in our state, it's that way this year. And
right.
Because of the pandemic, it could really be different. Or also we can't assume, I mean, if you've never had to vote absentee before, or mail in, you may be surprised at the rules that don't necessarily, for example, in Missouri, you have to have your ballot notarized before you can mail it in, unless you're in some categories that include people over the age of 65. They don't have to. But we never in my wildest dreams expect that I would have to have my ballot notarized.
I know.
So I have to plan for that.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's definitely not the kind of thing that you want to wait until November 1st to look into. Or
right.
maybe even,
well, I think
no reason to wait.
Right. I think it's worth checking into now, and just to see what your state or county is doing for elections, how they're handling elections, and then what you need to do if you want to vote by mail or vote absentee. And if you don't, like, I know I've seen in the news, a lot of states have changed, where polling places are and how many polling places are open. And so I think it's really worth getting used, or, sort of getting aware, making yourself aware of how your state and county are handling it, and then continuing to pay attention to it as things evolve.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And starting now and just raising your awareness now rather than putting it off because perhaps it feels complicated or annoying, can only help you, because once your awareness has been raised and you're set to vote, you're going to, I think, inevitably pay more attention to the issues and just notice things that come up about your local elections or what have you. And then that cloud of uncertainty goes away. It can be really helpful.
Right, right. And one of the ways that perfectionism can cause problems with something like this is that it's easy to put something off when you aren't sure you'll get it right. You don't, it feels, especially if it feels really important and it feels very important to get it right, it ironically makes it harder to do if perfectionism is something that you struggle with.
Right. And also if you feel like it's just going to be hard or a lot of steps, you might be surprised that it isn't. And in fact, we'll have some resources in the show notes. We've already identified a couple of very easy websites that will allow you to find out your state's regulations and request an absentee ballot.
Yes. And not to brag or anything, but
boy,
I'm from Oregon, and we have done 100% vote by mail for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous, without a doubt, says the person who has to have her ballot notarized.
Right.
I mean, how is this possible? That's just amazing.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize it was 20 years, though. That's something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think they started really expanding vote by mail in the 90s and then went to 100% vote by mail. And I remember when they first did it, like, feeling sort of sad about it. And I still feel a little bit sad, although in a pandemic now I don't care.
Not so much. Yeah.
But I do feel a little bit sad because, you don't vote everybody doesn't vote on the same day, and you don't, I always sort of liked the pomp and circumstance of going to my polling place and getting my I voted sticker and feeling like I was, participating in our democracy. And now I just, get to have the voters pamphlet, the internet. I can take as long as I want to fill out my ballot.
It's like an open book test.
It is. It's totally an open book test.
I have to cram before the exam.
That's right. And then you have to write crib notes on your hand.
You're actually allowed to bring notes in here anyway. But so the thing that struck me while you were saying all that was two contradictory things. One is, you have a nostalgic memory of the pomp and circumstance of the voting place.
Yes.
The current reality is usually annoying. There's usually something annoying happening at my polling place. But the flip side of it is I do actually have a very nice memory of Election Day 4 years ago, the presidential election, thinking it was going to be a different outcome. It was very exciting. It was very crowded. I saw neighbors,
Right.
And there was a general, really, I live in a very liberal city, so it was like this celebratory air of the first woman president and all this stuff. And so that was cool for that morning.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but in my volunteer reading, I read the day. How did this work? I read. Oh, it was the day of the election was the day that I happened to read, and one of the little girls I read to said that her mom let her go to vote with her, and she was so excited about that, and she was just sort of beside herself, wiggling with excitement. And then the next week was so sad. She was so sad. It was hard. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk
but
about.
when did so she's in Oregon. How did she go vote with her mom? I mean, how did that work? Her mom sat her down with the ballot and they went through it together?
Yeah. And her mom, she filled in the circle. Her mom filled in the circle, and then she let her do over it.
Yeah,
so that she felt like she was participating in it.
Yeah. That's really neat to instill that in a young person.
And a lot of people, and I've done this too, will actually wait to vote until Election Day and then hand deliver their ballot to the election office. Just to
to be part of the I know my in Washington they have mail in. I'm not sure what the rules are, but I know that I have taken my dad's ballot to the ballot box, lock box outside some government building and dropped it in. Not on a specific day, but just they
have that here too.
Yeah, so
there are locked boxes, they're sort of like mailboxes, big metal.
Yeah, so you don't have to trust except you do in St. Louis, but in general, in Oregon, you don't have to trust the Postal Service. Not that I'm saying anything against the Postal Service, but right, you can just drop it off in a lockbox.
Right, and they also have an interesting thing with ballots in Oregon where you can track your ballot online.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you can find out when they receive your ballot. You can see that they have counted your vote. It's pretty great. And then in this most recent election, I think was the first one, it got passed. I think maybe, I don't know what election it was, but you used to have to put a stamp on to mail your ballot in, and then they changed that, and you don't have to pay for postage. It's it's postage prepaid.
Again, the opposite of Missouri.
Yes.
At least I don't have to send mine express mail.
Right. You have to send it FedEx overnight.
Right. Or it won't count. So it's I'm making it. I can't believe I'm belly aching like I am. I just happen to have done this research today, but it isn't going to be hard for me to request a ballot and mail it in. Well, except for the notary. But I have a friend who's a notary. But people, it's probably, no matter what people think, it's hopefully not hard to take care of this now, so that you don't have to worry about what to do as you get really close to the election.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And, this happens so often. There are so many things. And I do this all the time still. I just did this with my mom's taxes, where I spend way more time dreading doing something than I actually spend doing the thing.
Oh, yeah. I hear that. Yeah. Or even just, like, I had a bunch of stuff. I can't remember if I already mentioned this. A bunch of stuff to scan for very old photos that got uncovered, and they were sitting on my scanner stand, and they got covered up with shit and stuff. Yeah. And I was cleaning up my office, and I found them. It's like, oh, geez, I got to take care of this. So I literally scheduled 15 minutes of scanning. It was on my task list for days. And then, of course, I did it, because my intention was to do 15 minutes a day till it was done. And I did it in 15 minutes.
I think we were scheduled to talk after that, and you're like, I need one more minute.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I didn't mind doing it, but it really, I don't know why I thought it was going to take, it's because I didn't rename the files. That's why I went so fast. I made him rename the files, because I didn't know who was in the pictures. But, so things like that, they build up sometimes in your head.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, I hadn't really put these two things together, but I had a conversation with a client this morning who was happy to tell me that she, on her own, used a technique that I've used with her, which is to imagine that you could shrink something down, like literally how you imagine it, to shrink it down, because that's what a lot of times it happens. Like, if you consider how you're, like, when you think of something like, when I was thinking of my mom's taxes, I was just imagining like this whole, sort of overwhelming nightmare of paperwork and stuff that I was going to have to figure out. And I imagine it like very big and overwhelming. And if you can take that image and shrink it down in your mind, it becomes it feels way more possible to do.
That's excellent. So you're having you can sort of become aware of what your image is. Maybe it's a big monster or something, this thing, this task, this project, and then you picture that monster shrinking down to the size of an ant. Is that what you're talking about?
Usually what I do is imagine shrinking it down so it could fit in the palm of your hand.
Oh, okay.
It's usually, sort of generally speaking, is just have it shrink down to the size of the palm of your hand. Yeah. And you don't even have to sort of know what you're picturing, because a lot of people feel like they aren't necessarily good at visualizing. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be in your mind like a, Technicolor movie or anything. I guess now we would say 4K. As opposed to Technicolor. Technicolor isn't that big of a deal anymore.
I don't even know what 4K is. What's 4K?
I don't really know either. It's just a high resolution. Okay. Like, I hear Mike talk about it in terms of video and stuff, and like whether the TV has it or not, and I just go, but so it doesn't even have to have any kind of definition. It could just be like, it just feels like this amorphous blob, and just imagine that you could shrink it down to be, a very tiny amorphous blob in your hand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a cool technique.
Yeah, it's surprisingly helpful. And I always feel a teeny bit sad when I don't remember to do it.
Yeah. Could have done that with my mom's taxes.
I know. Yeah, my mom's taxes, which literally I was like, ugh, I've been thinking about it since January, and then I had started them and then went on a trip and was going to finish them when I got back. And then when I got back, global pandemic, and then the date got pushed back. And then I was like, oh, I don't need to worry about those now.
Well, I'm impressed. It's only June 15th. You have another month, but you finished it?
Oh, yeah, because it literally took maybe an hour and a half
of
gosh. Not very focused time.
Wow. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah. Because the good news is I have everything in YNAB, which made it super easy. And the hardest part was just, sort of making sure everything was filed, but that was really just more about being able to archive the files as opposed to needing that information in the files. Like everything's in YNAB. I didn't actually need to look at the files.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I know I would have been dead or procrastinating like crazy if I hadn't already gotten my taxes in before the April. I just managed to get my taxes done like a miracle on March 15th. And then it's like March 16th, they extended the deadline. And I would have been totally waiting if I had, yeah. So I'm glad. I still have to pay city taxes, but I am waiting because I owe. There's no way not to owe. So I'm not going to give them money sooner. But yeah, that's a great example of something, and it probably preyed on your mind. You probably thought about it at least once a week, if not more frequently than that, right?
Oh, it was on my to-do list. It was, and being responsible for my mom's stuff. I have power of attorney. I'm the successor trustee. It's like I have all the responsibility. It even weighs more heavily than if it were just my stuff.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like I feel like I have a responsibility to do a good job for her, which I do have a responsibility to do a good job for her. But, so it sort of amped up that, which I think probably also added to the reasons why I was putting it off.
Absolutely.
Now that I think about it. But of course, when you're in the middle of it, you don't see all that very clearly.
Right.
Which is, why we're encouraging people to think about getting ready to vote now as opposed to a week before the election.
Exactly. It's too important to put off, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's what makes us, we're not a true democracy, but, it's what makes the democratic process work.
Right. Right, exactly.
So, again, apologies to our non-U.S. citizen voting listeners, but we hope that this is useful in something that may feel big to you that you've been putting off, and will help you take the next small step to getting that figured out. And for people for whom voting is the issue that they're looking at, that next small step will be to check out the resources that we have in the show notes. And you can find those at gettingtogoodenough.com. And did you have something else you wanted to say, Janine?
No, I can't. I did, but I actually already forgot what it was.
Because I just kept talking.
Yeah, because you were on a roll, and it wasn't anything helpful. I'm sure it was incredibly helpful, but it wasn't urgent or anything.
Okay. Well, we want to hear from you, our listeners, what is on your mind these days, and how can we help you let go of perfectionism? You can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can share your thoughts with us on social media. On Facebook and Instagram, we're at Getting to Good Enough. And on Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. And then, of course, in the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I feel all fired up like I want to go vote for something. But
Yeah, I know. Soon.
yeah.